So basically, we'll first try to, integrate Hilt because we'll be injecting a lot of objects inside the project. So first thing I want to do is integrate Hilt. For that, I'll create a package here that says DI. Okay. And before I start with Hilt, I'll make a basic structure for MVVM, sorry. So I'll create a model package. I'll create a package for view, or we can say UI. All right, and inside UI we'll be creating view models as well, with corresponding to the features that we're gonna add. So let's do that now. Let's say I have main activity. I'm moving the main activity to the UI screen. Then we'll have it's just my Android Studio. There's some delay for refreshing this layout. Then we'll have a splash screen. So we'll name it splash activity. That will keep outside. And wait a second, did I choose? Yep, we needed Kotlin class. So this is splash activity, and this is now updated. The main activity is inside the UI. Now we don't have any models yet. We have DI. I'll make one class here named app module, even though I'm not going to define any modules yet. So I'm just going to name it object app module, and I'm going to define it as module. All right. Plus, we also have to define in which component this is going to work. Component in the sense that if I define its component as, let's say, by the way, we have to use install in annotation for that and tell it that where we are installing or injecting these objects in which component. So when we talk about components, I'll explain a little more later on. So for now, I'll say I'm gonna use singleton component. So when I say singleton component, the objects that I'm injecting here will be available for all the activities plus the application scope. So it's from application scope to the lowest, most lowest, whatever child we have. Like in activities, we can inject that object in fragments also, in views also, like that. So I just created a module, and now what I'm gonna do is have models UI. You're right. First of all, when we try to integrate the Hilt, the first thing that we have to do is we have to tell him that when to start creating classes. All right, so I'm gonna create my application class, my custom application class. I'm gonna extend it application, and we have to provide at the rate Hilt Android app. Now this annotation tells it that yes, from this point of view, this point of time, we have to start creating or creating classes. Okay, and if I go here, close this. If you check Cortines, where were we? Hilt, I'll show you. If we add Android Hilt application, what does it say? It says it triggers Hilt's code generation, including base class for your application that serves as the application level dependency container. Okay, so we have to add this and Hilt Android app at the application level. After this, that's done, then we can simply inject any object in any activity that we want by simply defining an activity as an Android entry point. Okay, and we can start injecting any object that we want. We haven't created any objects right now, otherwise we can simply use inject keyword and then let init var and maybe a shared preference maybe, right? So we just have to define that variable here and it will get uh, injected. That's all we have to do for injecting an object. So we'll come back to it when we provide that object's definition in our modules so that that can be injected. All right. So coming back to MVVM, we have created a main activity, a splash activity, and UI. A basic structure is ready. So what we're gonna do is with the main activity, we are also gonna define one view model. So let's say I name it main activity view model. All right, and we have to extend it using view model. Okay, you can also go for view model or Android view model. I prefer view model. It doesn't have a context, so I prefer to keep it that way. Now we have view model extended. Now, in order to inject this view model, all we have to do is add Hilt view model and add inject at the constructor. So we have to provide a primary constructor for this view model. Okay, and this is how we inject a view model. Nothing else we have to do. We can simply now inject this view model inside our main activity using view model. So now you can start injecting your objects. So basically I can inject that view model here inside my inside my activity. So I'll just give it the type main activity view model, and we'll use the delegate method to make the view models. All right. So now the problem here is that we are not getting the import for the package where the view models the view model for main activity will be generated. Now for that we need the dependency that I talked about earlier, that we'll be adding it later on when we need it. So we'll go to the browser and then we'll search for Android X activity dependency. Okay, we'll go to the official documentation. There it should have provided, yes. So it says to add a dependency on activity, you must add the Google Maven repository to your project. So we're gonna use the Kotlin one and go to app module, Android X activity dependency. We'll paste it here, and the version required is 1.3.1. And we'll sync the project and go back to our activity, and we have the import. So basically we'll just import that package that should show up here. Okay, now we have the object, so we can simply use this object to call the methods that are inside the inside our view model, and we can make API calls, etc. So in the next topic, in the next video, we'll be setting up the retrofit for making the API calls using Hilt. So that would be the next part. Thank you.